Are you looking for a new job or career? Hi, this is Lisa Petrie, President for Diversity Career Fairs, and I want to invite you to our next job fair to be held on Friday, May 10th from 12 to 3:30 p.m. at the DoubleTree Hotel in Orlando. Share this information with your family and friends. Remember, Diversity Job Fair on Friday, May 10th from 12 to 3:30 at the DoubleTree in Orlando. For more information, contact the phone number or visit our website on screen.
We're in hard times and some of us are going to need a lawyer. And if you need a lawyer, don't just react to a TV commercial. Get a copy of the Lawyers Consumer Directory, which is available absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven store throughout Central Florida. The Lawyers Consumer Directory is going to give you real hardcore knowledge on how to hire a lawyer and a lot of information on issues like bankruptcy, foreclosure, and more. Get the Lawyers Consumer Directory. It's absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven throughout Central Florida.
The Christian Star began as a newspaper whose news focus of interest was of Christians, but it's become a lot more than that, covering issues of concerns to our community, covering issues of national, state, local, and political agendas that affect us today. The Christian Star is available free at any 7-Eleven store. So pick up your copy of the Christian Star Bilingual free at 7-Eleven today.
Ahora puedes demostrar tu orgullo hispano mientras manejas en la carretera con la nueva tablilla o placa de auto hispana conmemorando los 500 años del descubrimiento de Florida por Juan Ponce de León.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana este año y harás la diferencia.
Nuestra comunidad se beneficiará con más programas y servicios.
Resalta nuestra cultura, nuestras raíces.
Hi, I'm Danny Ramos, and welcome to this week's edition of Hispanic Speak Out TV, brought to you on Bright House Cable for the past 12 years. Tonight we have a special show. It's Tu Revista Mujer. It's a special magazine for women in Central Florida, and they're having their 4th annual award ceremony. And we covered that ceremony, and we'll be airing it in just a few seconds. After the presentation of the award ceremony, stay tuned because we have a special guest, Juan Cartagena from Latino Justice in New York City, and he's going to talk about the lawsuit against Orange County. We'll see you in a minute.
Gracias, Luis. Y hoy 10 mujeres del centro de la Florida recibieron un merecido reconocimiento al destacarse por su profesionalismo y calidad humana. Jackie Méndez junto a Mayra de los Santos, en nombre de Tu Revista Mujer, otorgaron los premios Homenaje a Ti Mujer en una emotiva ceremonia. Esta servidora estuvo de invitada especial en este gran evento de mujeres exitosas. Cabe resaltarte que este es el 4º año de Tu Revista Mujer, honrando a las mujeres que hacen la diferencia.
Felicitaciones a ti, invitada especial y a todas las mujeres de este evento que definitivamente hacen la diferencia.
Así que nosotros no tenemos razón ninguna para, como decimos en Puerto Rico, rajarnos o quedarnos sentadas sin hacer el esfuerzo, porque no hay nada que perder.
Pequeña, era criar sus 6 hijos. Soy la mayor. No era aceptable.
Bueno, pues Homenaje a Ti Mujer es una de las, yo diría, de las mejores experiencias que he tenido como editora de Tu Revista Mujer. Ya son 4 años y conociendo a más de 40 mujeres latinas de nuestra comunidad extraordinarias.
Entonces, no pertenece a aquellos que creen en la belleza de sus sueños.
Y una de las cosas que más satisfacción nos da a nosotros, el equipo de trabajo de Tu Revista Mujer, es este evento. ¿Por qué? Porque nos damos a la tarea de escoger a 10 mujeres extraordinarias de nuestra comunidad que se destacan no solamente por su trabajo, por su arduo esfuerzo, sino también por su calidad humana, y nos encanta compartir las historias de estas mujeres fabulosas con todos nuestros lectores.
Ese es el legado que quiero dejarles.
La mujer de todos los sombreros.
Ella es bien honesta también.
Y de verdad uno aprende muchísimo y ellas, de verdad, sus historias sirven de inspiración a nuestras lectoras. Y ese es en sí el focus de hacer este homenaje, de que muchas de nuestras lectoras se identifiquen con ellas y vean que nada, que valemos mucho, que se valoren y que sigan adelante en esta lucha que es vivir.
Nos encanta compartir entre amigas este momento tan especial en donde le damos valor a la mujer.
arduamente para que todo el equipo de Revista Mujer pues, pueda lograr esto. Así que es bello el que ustedes se han dedicado a darnos el apoyo a nosotros, pero definitivamente que eso tiene que ser mitad y mitad, si fuera un matrimonio.
Los pasados 4 años, porque realmente es un compromiso genuino el que tenemos Maricel, Omaira y yo. En cada edición ponemos mucha dedicación.
Le doy las gracias a Jackie, a tu revista Mujer, porque ella es un ejemplo, ha sido un ejemplo para todas nosotras como mujeres por su determinación, por su perseverancia, y para mí ha sido un honor que me hayan seleccionado. Muchas gracias, Jackie, 1.000.000.
Ustedes se abren muchísimo, o sea, esos sentimientos pues afloran. Es increíble ver el amor que le tienen a la familia, a sus hijos.
Con una trayectoria de mucho trabajo en el centro de la Florida. Estoy bien contenta de ser parte de este grupo de mujeres empresarias, lo cual estamos dando algo que aportar a nuestra comunidad latina.
Hoy me place y me honra ser parte de una plataforma de mujeres destacadas seleccionadas por tu revista Mujer, siendo mi amiga y presidenta Jackie Méndez su fundadora.
Aquí ser mujer y ser hispana definitivamente no era aceptable y no había ayuda. Pero nada, lo logré y aquí estoy y estoy bien contenta y gracias a todos ustedes por este honor, de verdad que Jackie es un honor. Gracias 1.000.000 y aquí estoy a la disposición de todas ustedes y de todos ustedes para lo que me necesiten.
Tras sobrevivir a 2 aneurismas, está convencida de que Dios hace milagros, no milagritos.
Un premio muy importante, porque humildemente sí he recibido varios, pero este es el primero que recibo después de esta segunda oportunidad de vida. Esto se lo dedico a esa mujer que está ahí. Es mi hija, que fue la que me sirvió de madre, de amiga y de enfermera.
Ese fue mi mensaje siempre. No ir no era una opción. Y ellos estuvieron siempre claros en eso. Y gracias a Dios ya tengo uno, el otro le dije, tu hermano no fue a Harvard, tengo 6 años ahora para que tú vayas a Harvard. Así que ellos lo toman muy en serio y yo he visto los frutos de ese mensaje que les llevé. Así que comparto eso con ustedes que son madres, que son abuelas. Es la única forma de uno superarse en la educación.
Soy una de estas que sí aprecio mucho a mi esposo. Esto significa muchísimo, pues el trabajo y el servicio de muchas personas aquí.
Llegando aquí sin saber el idioma, llegando aquí sin saber nada de lo que es el área de bienes raíces, tuve la oportunidad de aprender y al sol de hoy pues puedo ayudar a otros a hacer sus sueños realidad. Y definitivamente ha sido bien cuesta arriba, pero con la ayuda de Dios y con la ayuda de todos mis compañeros aquí pues he podido echar hacia adelante, así que es un honor para mí que la revista Tu Mujer, Jackie Méndez, hayan pues escogido a una persona, ¿verdad?, como yo, en carácter muy humilde. Les doy las gracias.
Llave para lograr superarte en la vida. Con ustedes, Lisa Pietri.
Y por eso es que mi mensaje, que no importa las circunstancias, porque es a través de la educación y por eso nosotros las madres pues hacemos un rol tan importante, porque ese fue el de mi mamá.
Yo pues me siento muy privilegiada de estar también aquí hoy, gracias por el reconocimiento y más que nada yo creo que para mí es tan especial ver que la comunidad realmente quiera ver los niños creciendo saludables y realmente reconociendo a un equipo, porque no soy sola, sino soy realmente un equipo y represento un equipo en Healthy 100 Kids que les encanta trabajar con los niños y son dedicados a ellos. O sea que 1000 gracias a tu revista Mujer y gracias otra vez por este privilegio tan grande que nos han dado.
Muchos esfuerzos y 4 años de tratamiento para poder tener su bebé. Ella es Gloria Puerto.
Tienes que
saber que cuando Dios te está poniendo a prueba, a fuego, lo recibas con regocijo. Porque cuando tú estás en el proceso y cuando tú estás en el fuego, el Señor te está diciendo, tú puedes. Muchísimas gracias y esto lo recibo con mucho amor y con mucha humildad y te lo damos con mucho amor.
Hoy me da este reconocimiento, muy poco merecido, digo yo, porque debe ser muy difícil escoger 10 mujeres destacadas en el centro de la Florida. Todas somos triunfadoras, todas somos ganadoras, especialmente cuando tenemos tantos roles de madre, de profesional, de amiga, de hermana, de esposa. Así que gracias a la revista por este reconocimiento y adelante.
Agradecida siempre del apoyo de sus hijos y de su esposo, recomienda a la mujer tomar tiempo para meditar, para organizarse y vivir una vida lo más natural posible. Con ustedes, Alicia Ramírez.
Hemos visto crecer esta comunidad y llenarse de vitalidad con la comunidad hispana, particularmente las mujeres como ustedes, que vinieron aquí a trabajar, a dar la lucha y a dar un buen ejemplo. Estoy bien orgullosa de compartir esto con ustedes. Muchas gracias, tu revista Mujer. Muchas gracias, Olga. Muchas gracias a ustedes y felicidades a todas las galardonadas y a todas las demás también. Cuídense.
Y la verdad que es un gran privilegio, un honor haber recibido este premio hermoso de parte de tu revista Mujer. Muchísimas gracias.
De los elementos más importantes en la filosofía de ellos es que se basan en la historia o el relato bíblico de la creación.
Darle un millón de gracias por eso. La verdad es que escuchando las historias, las realidades y los logros de todas esas otras galardonadas, la verdad es que no sé si ellas cometieron un error cogiéndome a mí, porque es que la verdad estoy escuchando todo lo que han pasado todas ustedes, la verdad es que el honor es mío.
Me siento muy honrada de haber sido nombrada una de las personas o mujeres reconocidas por tu revista Mujer, sabiendo y conociendo que hay tantas mujeres en esta comunidad que merecen este premio. Para mí es un honor representar a la mujer latina en esta comunidad de Orlando y me siento muy contenta de estar aquí hoy.
De verdad me siento sumamente contenta por el apogeo que tuvo tu revista Mujer con su evento Homenaje a ti Mujer. Fue casa llena, las mujeres estaban contentas, lo disfrutaron. Las 10 mujeres seleccionadas este año, todas fabulosas, se sintieron emocionadas y para nosotros realmente eso es lo que más valor tiene. Muchas gracias por estar en nuestras vidas, muchas gracias por siempre respaldar todo lo que nosotros hacemos en tu revista Mujer y estamos deseosos de que llegue el próximo año para seguir reconociendo la labor extraordinaria que hace la mujer hispana aquí en Orlando.
Are you looking for a new job or career? Hi, this is Lisa Petrie, President for Diversity Career Fairs, and I want to invite you to our next job fair to be held on Friday, May 10th from 12 to 3:30 p.m. at the DoubleTree Hotel in Orlando. Share this information with your family and friends. Remember, Diversity Job Fair on Friday, May 10th from 12 to 3:30 at the DoubleTree in Orlando. For more information, contact the phone number or visit our website on screen.
We're in hard times and some of us are going to need a lawyer. And if you need a lawyer, don't just react to a TV commercial. Get a copy of the Lawyers Consumer Directory, which is available absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven store throughout Central Florida. The Lawyers Consumer Directory is going to give you real hardcore knowledge on how to hire a lawyer and a lot of information on issues like bankruptcy, foreclosure, and more. Get the Lawyers Consumer Directory. It's absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven throughout Central Florida. Hi, I'm Danny Ramos, and welcome back to this week's edition of Hispanic Speak Out TV, brought to you on Bright House Cable 49. We've been on the air for 12 years defending Hispanic issues in Central Florida and educating the non-Hispanic community about what Hispanics are all about. We're here with Juan Cartagena, and Juan Cartagena is an attorney, and he represents Latino Justice. Latino Justice is a nonprofit organization that's based in New York and will soon be opening an office here in Central Florida. And they protect the voting rights of all people in the United States. Juan, welcome.
Thank you, Danny.
Okay.
How are you doing?
And Jose, welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Jose, you got first crack.
Well, my question was, we spoke about racism and stuff like that. We talked about the fact that this can be manipulated in such a way as to curtail our involvement. How do we go forward in the future? I understand that you have said that we've got to pick wisely the candidates who represent us, and not necessarily by ethnicity, but by what they actually can do for the community at large, okay? And you're going to go around the country now and articulate this to other Latinos across the board, from South Carolina all the way down to the South here. My question would be, we also have a young voting bloc now, and that people fear tremendously. And they are trying to make inroads to block their participation. Are you also representing that aspect of it?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Redistricting, which is the purpose of the lawsuit that we're doing currently right now in Orange County, is just one aspect of how barriers get created to actually stop individuals from exercising their political power. But it's actually a more sophisticated form of discrimination. Redistricting is that part of the voting rights law which actually says that groups can be actually stymied and oppressed and suppressed in their voting strength by creating lines that fracture or divide their political base. But the classic voting discrimination is when you don't let somebody vote at all, right? They can't even get into the voting booth.
Right.
And that typically happens in a number of ways. It could happen because you have voter ID laws. It could happen because you change the polling site at the last minute and nobody knows it. It could happen because you put security guards or more police officers to intimidate voters. It can happen, because
we
of the
would
laws.
never do that.
Okay. It can happen in some states because you take away the right to vote for somebody who's convicted, who with a criminal conviction. So, yes, very recently, in fact, we were here in Florida in a lawsuit to challenge the purging of voters that occurred in 2012, right before the national vote, the November vote. And you may remember that in Florida they were claiming that there were all these non-citizens that were actually voting. We're going to stop that. We're going to get rid of them. So allegedly, 18,000 people were supposed to be non-citizens who were actually voting. In reality, the first list only had 2,600 people. That first list was dominated by a lot of people in Dade County. So we've brought a lawsuit in Dade to stop the purging, because it's not that we are in favor of non-citizens voting. That's quite the opposite. What we are in favor of is making sure that the lists that were being used were accurate. So Florida was using lists that in some cases were 10 years old.
But isn't it a fact that Latinos go out of their way to fraudulently vote and commit crimes in order to change the ballot to favor themselves?
No, there's no evidence of that, and that's the linchpin. Ask yourself every time Every time
You
somebody...
drinking Kool-Aid again?
Ask yourself, every time in Tallahassee somebody says, we have to protect the integrity of the vote.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, where's the evidence of massive voter fraud? You know, there's already enough laws on the books that says that if you try to vote, if I go into a voting booth and say, my name is Juan Cartagena, I want to vote 4 times under my name in different voting districts, right. I'm committing like at least 6 or 7 or 8 felonies. Okay. I'm subjecting myself to a long time in fraudulent penitentiaries. There's enough to stop individuals, to stop them from committing voting fraud, and there's no evidence of voter fraud whatsoever.
Juan, give us a little quick background on the Orange County situation.
Basically, Rios Andino versus Orange County is a lawsuit brought by my office and lawyers who are also helping us from the law firm.
Who is Rios Andino?
Well, Rios Andino, she's a woman who's a voter, eligible voter here. She is, along with 3 other voters, people who live in a part of Orange County who otherwise would have been able to exercise their right to vote collectively in a district that was majority Hispanic, but Orange County Commission did not give us that district. So the lawsuit is brought by us and a law firm called Hogan and Lovells, and we're basically in court right now trying to definitely prove that, yes, there was clearly enough population, enough concentration of Hispanics to create a district in which they can dominate, but instead, Orange County decided to actually reduce the proportion of Hispanics in those districts, and in particular one district, and as a result, it's going to make it harder for Hispanics to exercise their power.
When you say Orange County, define when you say who is responsible for that decision.
Well, there are levels of responsibility. The first level, of course, is whoever was involved in commissioning process. I believe there's a number of people. There's a Mr. Damiani, who I understand was very actively involved in creating districts that were eventually adopted. There was a public hearing process, which people were testifying, and there were clear proposals that said, look, these are the best districts from a Hispanic point of view, and the individuals sat there, listened, but then voted against them. So there's that level of responsibility. The second level of responsibility is, of course, the entire county. I mean, we're talking about the entire county commission has to be held accountable for the decisions.
Does the commission have to vote? In other words, all the commissioners of Orange County had to vote for the redistricting?
It is my understanding that that's the way it happened, and that's the way it happens under the local law.
By majority vote.
Right. So what we're looking at, in every, I work in different states do have different permutations of that issue, but by and large, it is not unusual to have the incumbents decide the new lines.
Of course.
And of course, they're going to favor lines that protect incumbents.
Okay. Is this a Democrat issue, Republican issue?
Excellent question. When it comes to issues of keeping the people away from the voting booth, especially in a state like Florida, it's not a secret to understand that many Republicans vote in favor of these voter suppression mechanisms, right?
I don't mean to make you cry.
No, that's not
proportionately. You're saying that.
That's not a secret. But when it comes to these issues, who sits next to me with the same level of power in a county commission, exercising budgetary power, significant power with public works, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? On those issues, you'd be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't be surprised, that the Democrats, as much as Republicans, make it harder for new groups, Hispanics in this case, to elect candidates of their choice.
Well, in this particular case, he was running as a Democrat.
Right.
And he was the guy who set up the redistricting lines to reduce the lines for a Hispanic population. And what he did was, in essence, he got a Republican elected by doing that.
But
because he had a lot of support from the Hispanic community.
Right.
He did.
That's what I thought.
And he was going to a lot of events in the Hispanic community. There was no reason for him to do that. He could have won. I think he could have won.
Right.
Well, how could he have not have won? Because he only lost by 60 votes.
Right.
And he had the endorsement of the Orlando Sentinel. He had everybody's endorsement. And he lost by 60 votes. Why? Because a group of Hispanics got really irate about the fact that they redistrict the district. And 60 votes, I mean, you can get that in one day in an event. He blew it because of the redistricting that he himself initiated.
Every time we do redistricting work throughout the country, we tell everyone there are no permanent Democratic friends, no permanent Republican friends. You have to look for plans that actually enhance and are able to reflect Hispanic voting strength, irrespective of the political party. I work in places like up in the north, or the northeast, where the entire town would be dominated by Democrats. It doesn't make a difference. We have to fight against them tooth and nail to make sure more Hispanics are elected. And that's what happened. That's the reality of redistricting.
Okay. So do you have an office here in Central Florida right now, or a contact point, or right now?
No, the contact is all of us here in New York. In New York. But our goal is to create a regional office.
Okay.
We are thinking of doing so here in Orlando. The purpose of our regional office, of course, is to anchor all the work that we're doing in Florida. We've done work in multiple places. I mentioned Dade, Volusia County not too long ago. And in multiple ways. But we also do work not too far from here in the neighboring states. We have a pending case in Alabama on immigrants' rights, a pending case in South Carolina on immigrants' rights. You know, those states are the ones that, you know, enacted outrageously oppressive laws to stop immigrants from exercising, you know, being part of the social fabric.
Right.
And we bring those lawsuits as well. So ultimately, I would love to come back when we open the office and introduce you to the person who will be here. Of course, somebody from Florida, an attorney who's admitted, and introduce that person to both of you and to your viewers, so that everybody can know about our services.
Well, I want you to know that Speak Out TV on Bright House will be at your full disposal.
Great.
Okay. Anytime you guys need to come on, you come on. Give us updates as you go forward. Our magazine and our newspaper, which is well known, and it's new but well known, is also at your disposal.
Excellent.
Okay. And just anytime you want to come back, this is an important issue for Hispanics that we have to support. This is Danny Ramos on Hispanic Speak Out TV, Jose Miranda, my co-host, and of course, Juan Cartagena, representing Latino Justice, who is the organization suing Orange County on voter rights. We will be back next week.
Are you looking for a new job or career? Hi, this is Lisa Petrie, President for Diversity Career Fairs, and I want to invite you to our next job fair to be held on Friday, May 10th from 12 to 3:30 p.m. at the DoubleTree Hotel in Orlando. Share this information with your family and friends. Remember, Diversity Job Fair on Friday, May 10th from 12 to 3:30 at the DoubleTree in Orlando. For more information, contact the phone number or visit our website on screen.
We're in hard times, and some of us are going to need a lawyer. And if you need a lawyer, don't just react to a TV commercial. Get a copy of the Lawyers Consumer Directory, which is available absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven store throughout Central Florida. The Lawyers Consumer Directory is going to give you real hardcore knowledge on how to hire a lawyer and a lot of information on issues like bankruptcy, foreclosure, and more. Get the Lawyers Consumer Directory. It's absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven throughout Central Florida.